All right. Kay, thank you so much for being on the Get Foxy show.
Hey, this is a pleasure, Terry. I've actually really been looking forward to this.
Well, I have definitely been looking forward to having you on the show for quite a while, and I'm just going to kick it right off. What does Foxy and being Foxy mean to you?
Being Foxy, and I love the name of your show. That is, I would say, that's when, and it can, we're our clientele is women, but I would say that is when they just have that certain sass. They have that certain sex appeal, and everyone has their own individual one, and it just shows how confident and how comfortable they feel with themselves.
Has there ever been a time in your life where you couldn't find your foxiness?
You
And
know, that's a good question because a lot of people ask me, well, how did you even get into image consulting? Because before I got into this, I definitely, I really was not even thinking about my foxiness or my sassiness. I think a lot of us, when we, as women, when we have children and then we're focused more on our families and we're focused on, okay, I'm a mom and and so you put others before yourself. And then eventually, I think a lot of, and I was guilty of this, as moms, we get so used to putting others ahead of us that we start feeling guilty if we even think that we should make about how we look and feel a priority. It just feels like, oh, who am I that I'm supposed to be taking care of my family? So this was something that I eventually learned. I was starting to feel really lacking confidence and not feeling that good about myself. And I even had, so before I got into image consulting, I was a personal trainer and I was also teaching Pilates. But I even had Pilates students who would want to take me shopping to help me buy something to just, yeah, spice me up. I think I was wearing black all the time. You get into this habit of just wearing black, your black workout clothes. And black was easy. And anyway, it just, that really struck, at first I'm thinking, oh, is that nice? Everybody wants to help me. I realized, oh, wait a minute. They want to help me because this goes to how I look. And I'm not, it is so true when they say that how you feel about yourself is what you're projecting. And see, and I had that feeling on the inside that, oh, I'm not worth it. I'm not worth it to spend money on myself and invest in myself. And so, yeah, it showed. And so it was almost like my clients, they wanted to take care of me. Oh, so it took something like that. So who would have thought that years later, after I got into this, that some of my clients and my friends started asking me, after the change in me, hey, can you help me? So the table turned. It
and
turned
how
the other
did
way.
that change happen?
It was, and I'm sure this happens to people sometimes. It almost feels like you're not really looking for something. But I do remember feeling a little embarrassed when those clients were wanting to help me shop. And at that time, I was just thinking to myself, you know, I don't like feeling bad about myself and bad about how I dress. Yet I didn't know how to dress really. And it was just kind of in the back of my mind. And as I say, wasn't really looking for it. And then it was just one of those things that just, it kind of popped up. How we'll just all be surfing through the internet. And then I was actually reading, an interesting article. And then, how there'll be all those Facebook ads. So it was just something over to the side. And I thought, oh, what's this? And then, and it was showing the before and afters, and I was just like, wow. And I was very intrigued about it. And then I thought, no, that's ridiculous. That's not. I'm not going to travel and just go take some class to learn how to dress. People are going to laugh at me if I tell them, hey, I'm going to take class, learn how to dress. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but it was like one of those things. It would not leave me alone. I'd have to, I would go about my day, and then a couple of days later, I'd go back, check on it, and said, okay, this is going to happen when? And then like, okay, bye. And then a couple of days later, go back and it was just one of those moments of, okay, just I clicked the key, grabbed my credit card, and it was done. So the next thing I knew, okay, I'm getting, got to get the airline tickets, got to get the hotel. And I'm still the whole time thinking, oh, what am I doing? And I did not tell anyone where I was going. I was just like, oh, I'm going to, almost like a vacation. Mm-hmm. However, what happened to me, the aha, here I was thinking it was just all going to be about, playing dress up and playing with makeup, hair, etc. But this was a very enlightening experience in that I learned about myself, and I learned more deeply about myself. And it was one of those things that I realized I had been, I like a good word to say it would be squelching. I had been squelching who I was because I'd been one of these who would always sought approval from others, and then I was afraid to stand out. I was just one of these shy people, afraid to stand out. And what I realized when I went through this course is that I have a very strong energy. And when I was thinking about how I was as a child and how I was more of a leader, and I really was a very action-oriented type of person, etc., that really changed the perception of myself. It changed my perception. Just getting the clothes and the makeup and the hair done, that was, okay, so it was like the icing on the cake, but I did feel this difference from the inside. I had no idea that when I saw people again and they saw the difference in me, I had no idea that they were going to be responding to me in a completely different way. I mean, completely different. It was almost as though people who never ever even talked to me, they were striking up a conversation. It's like they wanted to, people wanted to hear what I had to say. I can tell you this. It was before, I always felt like, okay, I've got all this education, gotten all these degrees, and for the personal training, for the Pilates, but I always felt like people didn't believe what I would tell them. All of a sudden, it was like people looked at me and asked me for advice. So it's like, what? All of a sudden they find me credible. So I did not realize that any of that was going to be happening, that I had no idea that what I was projecting to other people, that's how they were responding to me. So when I got that feeling on the inside about who I was, and then, of course, harmonizing everything in the image, it changed everything. It just was mind-boggling to me. So I've never gone back. And then that was when people started asking me, what have you done? And then, hey, can you help me? So then I decided, I was reluctant. I thought, I don't know if I can even do this. And then when I started helping friends, and then I realized I was good at it. So I got certified, and that's how it all started. Have you ever had that where someone asks you to do something, you're not planning, you're not going on that path. It just kind of opens for you. And you just think, oh, hey, I can do this.
I can totally relate. That's how I got into podcasting.
Yes. Yeah.
What I'm hearing from you, Kay, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is that changing your image on the outside can actually affect the inside.
That is so true. It is so true. So I've seen it happen with every person I've helped. And I'll get these emails. Sometimes I'll get them even a year or two later, and they're still telling me how effective this system is and how it's helping them and how it always sounds like a cliche to say changed your life, but that's what they say. It is what they say.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it
So
is cool.
you earned the nickname the Success Dresser. How did you come by that?
This was something that I've, and I work with all different kinds of people. And I would say this is something that when I have professionals come to me, usually it's because something like they want to up level their clientele. They want to get a higher clientele, or maybe they're going for a better job. And once we go through that image process, and they know, and here's the thing: it's the image that we are transforming. Let's just say it's a transformation. It's not something where they feel uncomfortable or they feel, like they feel. People always think, oh, this whole image thing, you're going to feel stiff and it just doesn't,
Mhm.
it's going to feel fake. No, they feel completely comfortable with who they are. The biggest thing is what we've done is we've helped create the highest version of them. And so that is what is relating to their success. And so that's why the term success dresser.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it sounds like what you're doing, you're not necessarily playing dress up on somebody and putting them in some kind of outfit that doesn't necessarily match who they are. It sounds like what you're doing is you're helping them express their true, authentic self through their image.
Right. And one of the pluses of this, which I think your patients would like as well, a big plus, because people don't come in thinking that it's going to do this, but they'll I had a mother and daughter taking my workshop one time, and it was so good that her daughter took it, because once we did the mom's transformation, and this mom had gone to an image consultant before, and anyway, what I do is completely different. So on the last day, at the end of her transformation, her daughter's looking at her, is like, "Mom, you look like 10 years younger." so, so I always see this with people. And here's the thing: we are not. A lot of times, I've heard image consultants talk about, oh, you want to camouflage this certain area or camouflage this weakness. And maybe they're talking about trying to camouflage something in their features.
Mm-hmm.
What I actually like to do is, because I look at a person's features, and that it's really telling me a lot about their energy, their core energy. And what I like to do, it's almost like homeopathy. What we're doing is we're bringing out those features, we're bringing out that energy. But what happens is, because think of it like a wholeness of that person, instead of being really focused in on just one thing, like focusing on, women are always concerned about the wrinkles, or, focusing in on, oh wow, she sure got a lot of wrinkles. You don't even, your eyes are deflected from that, because you're seeing this whole balance of the person being in that correct energy that's in harmony with them. And I think that's why it tends to make them look younger. Even the colors that they're wearing, it tends to make them look younger, because those colors are the right colors for them. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I hear exactly what you're saying. If you're wearing something that is incongruent with your energy, who you are, instead of adding to you, it can detract, or put a weight or put an age on you that isn't necessarily there.
That is very true, because it's almost like this. Think about it. All humans tend to like things that are in harmony. As soon as you see something that's out of place, Your I goes more to whatever is out of place, whatever, if you want to call it an eyesore. I mean, it could just be something in your home, and you're just thinking, okay, that looks bad there. It's the same thing on ourselves. So we can be wearing something and it's out of place on us. And so, yeah, it's causing an interference with our energy. And so what is happening, not only is a person focusing in more on, maybe they'll be focusing more on wrinkles. However, the other biggest thing that it will do is it's going to cause some miscommunication, because I had a client that was a very, very strong woman, very, very strong energy. And she used to always try to downplay it. She thought she needed to soften it. And she was just always trying to wear these very, I don't know, almost like hippie clothes. So, and she was a home builder. And when people would talk to her, it was almost like a disconnect as soon as she started talking, because she would talk in a very strong and very opinionated voice, because she really was, I mean, she's excellent at what she does, but the way she dressed did not match it. When she started putting on that, and I'll just call it a yang energy. We think of the yin and the yang energy. So when she started putting more of that yang energy on, it's not that it was making her look more masculine. It was fitting with who she was. And people started paying attention to her so much better. It was like they were hearing every word she said, and everything was congruent, like you said. And so I think this is one of the ways that you can enhance your communication, because people are going to pay attention to you from the beginning. It's kind of like we have that sixth sense. And so everyone's heard of that study that was done on, was it Dr. Morabian? And he's saying that only 7% of communication is the words we speak. And so basically the rest of it is your nonverbal. Well, a huge amount of that nonverbal is that whole presence of the person. And so that is what you're interacting with that. You're not, we don't think about that. We don't think, there's just so many things that go on, I'd say, in that reptilian brain where all those emotions are based. There's so many things that go on that are affected by what we see. It's affecting our perceptions, and it affects our communication and how well we listen to someone. So
that it's amazing to me how much nonverbal communication can come through just by putting on certain items of clothing, and how that can then resonate with who we are in here, and then send that message out. So let me see if I can get this. I'm just so blown away by this, Kay. I'm having a hard time speaking. So when it comes to image consulting, how are you able to bring out the foxiness specifically in your clients?
Everyone has, and here's the thing, especially for women, we all have our strengths. However, if a woman is like the one I was talking about, who had a very strong yang energy, because women are seen as the more feminine, so they will try to, it's almost like too much influence from the media, and people are all trying to do, okay, here's what's in, I need to be wearing this, etc. And it may not be matching them at all. So I would say the biggest way to bring out that person's foxiness, it's got to be congruent with their energy. And as soon as you get that, and see, it doesn't have to be, it could just be something very casual that you're wearing. It doesn't have, you don't have to be all dressed up. You don't have to be perfect. It's just, it has to be congruent with who you are. And when you have that, on the inside, you feel so comfortable. When you're around a person who feels completely comfortable with themselves, that's when that's when they're exuding their foxiness. It's just going to happen effortlessly. So that's what I like to help people do. They're able to be themselves, and as I said before, they're going to be the highest version of themselves, and they're going to feel good. And then just it's like if you're dressing so that you're congruent with your energy, it's hard to have a bad day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that should encourage most of us to start dressing better, or at least more congruently.
You know what? And it's not just about the perception that other people have of you. Your mood is also affected. It's just your whole being, and so that way that you're feeling, it's going to affect everything that's happening in your day. So who wouldn't want to feel better? It's just this is, and I've seen women, they've had a hard time maybe losing weight. They go through this program, all of a sudden they're motivated, they feel good, and then they will stick with the program because now they're finally feeling good about themselves. So yeah, it's a huge motivation factor.
You bet. Well, I can definitely relate to that. I mean, I know there are certain days I'll go in the closet and go, not really feeling that, but boy, oh, look at that shirt. Yeah, I feel awesome in that shirt, man. I'm gonna put that on
Right.
today, and then yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about myself, confident about myself, and going out there and making things happen.
Yeah. See, that's a big clue because see, if people will just pay attention, they will innately know when they feel really really good in something. See, they innately know, okay, yeah, this does it brings out who I am, and then you're going to know if it's doing the wrong thing. So it's, just pay attention to those times. So that's why I tell people, don't just go buy things on sale. You've got to really really love it because it's not going to do anything for you otherwise. It'll just be sitting in your closet.
Hmm. So, what would be the one piece of advice you would have for the Vulpanistas out there, our little tribe of foxy ladies?
There's there's lots of things that I'd love to help them with, but the main thing I think is they've got to really, really give themselves the permission to make themselves a priority, and make it okay if if they're disappointing other people. It's not about seeking approval from others. Because, see, I think as women, that's a lot of what we do. We're thinking, oh, I can't do that. So and so won't like it. You've got to give yourself permission to do what you innately know feels good for you. So just pay attention to your own instincts, those own feelings that you have for yourself.
Excellent. Who embodies Foxy in your world right now, Kay?
Okay, so when you say who embodies Foxy, are
Yes.
you asking me who is a person that I think is a good example, or what are we?
Yes. Yeah, who do you think is Foxy?
So, a person in my world that you're saying, I would say, hey, here's a person you need to take notice of. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
My I have a daughter who is in her early 30s, and I would say that she's gone through my program, and so she's a consultant. Um, she's one of only two female consultants in her company, but and she has a very feminine energy. Now she will dress so that she's exuding that femininity, not trying to be. A lot of people think, okay, it's a male dominated world and it's how they should dress. A lot of people have this idea of professional dress as being really, I don't know, it's more of that. Just there's a lot of old myths about having to wear the suit or wear only certain colors. And she still looks very, I'd say, very classy when she goes to work, but she wears outfits that are exuding who she is. And why I think of her as having that foxiness is because she has a very feminine energy, yet when she goes into work, people pay attention to her because she's exuding the femininity, yet she has credibility because of how she's dressed. And I think it's because she is so comfortable with who she is. I think that is why, because she's not going to go in trying to wear, she'll never, like I love to wear shirts with collars. She's never going to go in wearing anything with a collar. She has a very feminine energy, but she has that attention, and she has a lot of respect from all the people that she works with. And I think it's because she exudes that sassiness.
And probably helps to have mom put her through that program.
Oh yeah, she's one of my biggest proponents.
Well, how can people get a hold of you, Kay, if they want more information about what you're doing?
Well, I do have a website. It's www.standinyyourpersonalpower.com. And there's a contact form that you can sign in there. I have a free guidebook, 7 Ways to Stand in Your Personal Power. So you could sign up for that. And yeah, I'd love to work with you.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you, Kay. We're just about out of time here, but I have learned so much in just a short amount of time chatting with you today. And I want to thank you for bringing that value to this show. And I know there are women out there who will be listening to this and hearing it and going, "Oh my gosh, yes, I need to start. I need to start reevaluating what I'm wearing so that I can have more authenticity, authentic expression of myself."
Right.
And that is definitely the goal of the show here, is to help those ladies like that. So thank you so much for taking the time and being on the show today.
My pleasure, Terry. Thank you.